As many of you will know, I mostly play Dark Knights. And I've made a very silly mistake. I thought, and I don't know why I thought this, that the Pandæmonium raid tier launches in January. I thought it was right at the start of January. And of course I'm completely incorrect. Because actually, the Pandæmonium raid tier launches normal mode today, the 21st of December. And in 2 weeks' time, the Savage mode launches. How I've got these mixed up, I haven't got a clue. And the problem with this is very, very straightforward. And I'll show you. If I just switch over to Dark Knight, you'll see that my gear for Dark Knight gets me to item level 0553. And if I just very quickly check the lodestone, new raid Pandæmonium Asphodelos, item level requirement 565. Now, I've got all of 60 aphorism tomestones. I'm not going to spend the day. I could get some. But if I do everything, I could actually get enough, probably, to get some bits and pieces. But as you can see, I've got. Why have I got level 85 ring? And a level 80 ring. And the answer is really, really simple and straightforward. I've spent all my tomestones on Reaper. Because I've been really enjoying Reaper. So for potentially the first time ever, apart from the role quest stuff, you're going to see me DPS. Keep in mind, folks, I am not good at DPS. I mean, you could argue that I'm no good at tanking or healing either, but I'm not good at DPS. There's a reason why I play tanks and healers for most content, except dungeons, because that's what I generally feel most comfortable with. So this is going to be interesting. So, Pandæmonium Asphodelos. Asphodel, of course, being... Well, I say, of course. Demajen, you're so knowledgeable. Asphodel is the one of the places in the Greek underworld. If I remember correctly, wasn't it the Fields of the Dead? Asphodel. The crystal from beyond. Nemgigi nods at you as if she was expecting your arrival. It appears my calculations were correct. I knew that at this very spot I would encounter none other than Demajen, the hero who saw us through the final days. So certain was I of my math that I stood here for... Well, let's not concern ourselves with that. I am Nemgigi, assistant to one Professor Claudian. We work with the Aetioscope to observe the ethereal sea and delve into its myriad mysteries. Some mysteries, though, are beyond even our capabilities to unravel. The strange crystal we but recently discovered, for instance, defies our every conjecture. You've been to the centre of the star and far beyond it, however, so we hope that you may see something in this crystal that we academics do not. I beg you lend us your well-travelled eye to Poria. Professor Claudian will be eagerly awaiting your arrival. Okay. Now, I have no idea what DPS queues or anything are like. I must say, generally speaking, in FF14, you don't spend a huge amount of time queuing this stuff. Is it in here? Or is it down below? I'm assuming it's in here. Hello, Professor Claudian. I'm sure you're here in the midst somewhere. Greetings, Demajen, and welcome to my humble laboratory. I'm sure NMGD has already told you plenty about us, but allow me to introduce myself personally. I am Claudian, leader of this... leader of this little research collective. I must admit, I've been nervous about this meeting ever since NMGD set out to find you. For a researcher in my field, there is no greater an honour than to meet the first woman in history to traverse the ethereal sea and return to tell the tale. The Professor speaks often and at length of your deeds, but he has no small number of achievements to his own name. He has peered deeper into the ethereal sea than any other in Charlian, and the breadth of his knowledge is peerless. Peerless, perhaps, but for a single woman, we must seize this precious opportunity to learn what we can from her and perhaps crack this conundrum that has stumped the three of us for moons. It was we who peered into the fathomless sea from the anti-tower in the Dravanian hinterlands. There we spoke with Heidelin and learned of the fate that would befall this star, the final days. Soon thereafter, all research was moved to Labyrinthos, and through the I know how to pronounce it. The Aetioscope did we continue our vigil. As impressive a work as the device is, however, it can glimpse but a fraction of the sea's infinite depths. Which brings us to the matter at hand. Not long after the Exodus was declared, we recovered an unusual crystal shard during a routine observation. It appeared before us suddenly, as if propelled to the surface by some unknown force. We found that it possessed an ethereal density that exceeds that of normal crystals by orders of magnitude, and its shape resembles nothing which occurs in the natural world. It was made, not formed. Unfortunately, that was the extent of the information we could glean before we were forced to turn our focus towards the Exodus. The crystal was very nearly forgotten amidst the sudden upheaval. But now, thanks to the efforts of a certain someone, that crisis is now behind us, and we are free to resume our research. Thus did we decide to seek you out, the dauntless adventurer who delved into the unknown and beheld its innermost secrets. And now we would have you see for yourself. You'll notice that I've got on my Asian t-shirt for this. Here is the crystal in question. If it resembles aught you have encountered before, even by the smallest degree, please say so. Unfortunately, they've actually ruined this by showing us what it is in the patch notes. Assuming it's the same thing. It's a green, yeah. Mind you can't see the symbol on it. Unless the symbol's worn off. Hi, Thales. Yes, I know what this is. Memory abides within this crystal. I can't remember who the green one is. As I thought. You do know what this is. Please, tell me everything. That's a tale. It is a crystal belonging to a member of the Convocation of 14 from pre-sundering. I see. The Asians used these to transfer their memories to new vessels. Fascinating indeed. It was plain that this crystal was special somehow, but this revelation surpasses even my considerable expectations. Similar artifacts have appeared throughout the ages. Memories of martial techniques manifested as crystalline shards on the battlefield, or storage stones passed from master to students. Soul stones. Interesting. I'd actually never stopped to consider that there is, an obvious parallel, isn't there, between what soul stones do and these memory stones of the ancient Ethereans. A comparison between said artifacts and this crystal may prove a fruitful first step in unveiling its true nature. What do you think, Professor? Professor? Ascian memories. Windows through which we can gaze upon the convocation of 14. Unlike the crystal in Demajen's story, this one does not bear the mark of the convocation. Who, then, could these memories belong to? Oh, so this isn't... And more importantly, why would... Well, I suppose, of course they aren't, because we had all of them, and we gave them to Elidibus after defeating him. Well, apart from Azim's, obviously. And more importantly, why were they stored in this particular shard? More importantly still, why was it set adrift on the ethereal sea? Did we have all of them? I guess we did. But this is somebody new. He's off in his own little world. Hello, Professor! Professor Gladian! Yes? I'm well aware that contemplation is the key to breakthrough, but there is propriety to consider. We have a guest, one you invited explicitly. Must we do this every time? What? Ah, yes, of course, a guest. Terribly sorry. I do so easily find myself unmoored by the tides of rumination. Smirk. Perhaps a more engaging use of your time with us would be for you to take up that crystal. If indeed there are memories stored within, they may reveal themselves to you upon contact. Why haven't you guys tried that? And... Oh, if anyone, message, come, Pandæmonium, please, faces, grave threat, star, in danger. Danger, you say? 'Tis a message. That expression does not bode well. What did you see? Something terrible is about to happen. Or has about... Pandæmonium? 'Tis not a word I have heard before. If my knowledge of the ancient tongue serves me, it means all demons. Not a name that inspires optimism, all things considered. And yes, it does. Pan meaning all. Dæmonium of demons. Although actually Dæmonis didn't actually indicate demons as evil creatures in Latin. In the event that another star-shattering cataclysm is in fact bearing down upon us, I would have the aforementioned examples of crystallized memory to hand. Mgigi, Rusno, I entrust their procurement to you. If there are more memories to be extracted from this crystal, we will find them. As for you, Demajen, there is a person I would have you seek, the one who has delivered so dire a warning. Your story tells us this crystal could very well have been made by one of the ancients. If that is the case, then discerning the nature of this Pandæmonium would require a trip far into the past, to an era before the Sundering. I know of only one individual capable of such a feat, the very hero who traversed time to prevent the world's doom. I like the fact that this is seemingly common knowledge in Sharlayan. Though I suppose it is quite the story to tell around the campfire, isn't it? I must confess, the tales people tell of your adventures beg a belief, and their veracity has been a subject of much debate among my peers. After today's meeting, however, there can be no doubt in my mind that every incredible exploit is fact. Don't believe everything you read. So I ask you now, return to the past, find out what and where Pandæmonium is, and if we need be concerned by this message. Nod. Oh no, fist punching. Thank you! For the time being, you should keep the crystal in your possession. I do not think you have seen the last of its memories, and more may be drawn out as you approach their source. So travels. May we meet again soon to share our findings. I I guess we're going back to Elpis. Journey to the Ocular. Really? You want me to go via the Crystarium? I suppose more cutscenes may occur? Or maybe we're going to a slightly different version of the past. They wouldn't do that though. That would be a lot. Even now, I still have to stop and think. Which is the one that's next to the gatekeep again? The Dossal Gates. Gatekeep. But I'm dumb, so, you know. Why, yes, I would like to go to the Ocular. Thank you, Gatekeep. Ah. There is more. A smudge on my monitor. That looks very blue here. If receives this message. Huh. Slow walking. Come to Pandæmonium quickly. Doesn't say come to, does it? It just says come. I can read. Huh, so what... it's almost like this is going to put us in a slightly different phase. Did we just fall from the sky? Ow. Well, hi Elpis. Where have we showed up? And also, why did we fall flat on our ass? Ugh. Oh, we've walked into somebody. Hi. Your hair needs modding. Could it be? No, of course not. Apologies, but for the briefest moment I thought you to be a dear friend of mine. I realise now that such a notion is preposterous. Is it the ears? Tends to be the ears. She told me a falling star would appear before me, and I suppose you must be it. Truth be told, I did not expect the expression to be quite so... literal. Who are you, child? Boy? Person? Themis. Apologies for not introducing myself properly. My name is Themis. As you can see by my bare face, I'm not one of Elpis's observers. Rather, I'm come here on assignment, which has been more or less routine up until this very moment. You certainly do know how to make an entrance. I must wonder what brought you here, for it is plain that you do not belong here, or any place I know for that matter. I have this crystal. I'm Asm's familiar. See if this works. Huh. It appears my initial impression was not so preposterous after all. I did not know my friend had such a unique familiar at her disposal. So Themis knows the current Asm, not Vanar. If you are here at Asm's behest, then I believe I can hazard a guess as to your purpose. You're here to investigate Pandæmonium, yes? Yes. If so, we might be able to help one another. But first, might I trouble you to explain how you came to collide with my skull? Stuff and things. I see. I believe that dispels any major doubts I had concerning your intentions. Apologies for being so intrusive, but you must understand this is an uncommon occurrence. I shall pry no further, for I am well aware that we all have secrets we must keep. However, if I may, I would very much like to take a look at this crystal of yours. What was that face for? Huh. See, it's blue in this light as well. Fascinating. While I cannot say much as to what it contains, it is clear that there are memories stirring within. Memories that speak of something gravely amiss in Pandæmonium. The facility extends beneath Elpis and is overseen by the words of Lahabrea. It houses those creations that are highly valued as research subjects and highly dangerous to the star. Naturally, it is strictly guarded and under constant surveillance. Thus, all demons. Several days ago, however, an unnatural shift in the flow of its surrounding ether was detected. Soon thereafter, all communications from Pandæmonium ceased. I'm here as representative of an organisation that works directly with the Convocation and have been tasked with investigating this incident. Now that there is some measure of transparency between us, might I offer a suggestion as to what we should do next? Go kill some stuff. I don't know what is good for Reaper. During the course of your investigation, you may discover valuable artifacts. These can be exchanged for equipment by speaking with Melini in Aporia or Giole in Raz at Han. Just going to go and take a quick look at what this gear is like, because I want to see what it looks like on my character. Again, there's a picture of it in the patch notes, which is all well and good. Trader. Aha! Melini. Right. First of all, we're going to take a look at the fending stuff. Despite the fact that I'm not going to be able to look at it yet. Let's just cover that up so I can see what it looks like when it's done rather than bit by bit. Ooh! Oh, I like that. I mean, it doesn't look very protective, but it looks freaking cool. Oh, I like that a lot. Let's take a look at the maiming stuff. I do not know what that face guard is. It's not visorable. I mean, that's weird. But that's quite cool. That's quite cool indeed. Right, what else am I likely to actually try? Let's take a look at the healing set. Healing, 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 healing. Oh, that's going to clip horribly. Oh, it does show off my my brand though. It's interesting that this is actually more covered up than the ending stuff. Let's just go back to the fending stuff for a second. I suppose it's not that much more covered up. It's just the bare legs. But it's got that kind of... And it's not chainmail, but it's almost got that colour of, like, elven mail is what this makes me think of. Especially the kind of... the grey underneath. I really like that. 580. Yeah, that's about right. And also, we've got some rings and accessories and stuff down there. Also got discal tombstones. Tombstones. Huh. Trouble is, I've really been enjoying playing Reaper. And I really like that set. Apart from the headpiece. The headpiece sucks. Oh, damn it. Anyway, back we go. Back to Elpis. So, yes, that stuff looks quite nice. Not a huge fan of the colliery thing on the healer, but that's fine. Right, where am I going? This way. Let us continue onwards with the quest. And while I think about it, let's turn that off for a bit. Right. Let us continue onwards. Themis. Where familiars dare. Now then. Our proposal is a simple one. My proposal is a simple one. I can read. Let us journey to Pandæmonium together. Our destination is the same, and I suspect the arrangement would work to our mutual benefits. Besides, I should have no trouble gaining us both access. I do hope you agree. I would be loath to part ways from the falling star I had been waiting so long for. Originally, I had planned to conduct my investigation with the friend I mentioned earlier. She had also noticed the anomaly near Pandæmonium, so it would only seem natural that we should investigate it together. However, she eventually decided that it would be unwise for us both to go. If two members of our organisation were seen poking our heads about restricted facilities, it could raise questions, you see. I decided to go alone, but she left with these words, "Fear not, for in my absence a star shall fall before you." While I could not comprehend her meaning at the time, I believe now I understand. She does have a way of being right about these things. Is it Azam? No, not Azam. Is it Vanar? He's working with Vanar, isn't he? They're a member of the same organisation, which is what... Also, he's got white robes on. White robes were reserved for people who have concluded their post and whose judgment is trusted. Even so, her hints of what's to come are generally more cryptic. I suppose I should have kept my gaze to the heavens. Suffice it to say that I am grateful for your presence either way. As for the matter at hand, we must first gain permission from the words of Lahabrea for entry into Pandæmonium. There ought to be a speaker waiting at Anagnosis. Do we actually get to see Lahabrea? Because that would be cool. You know, our only real interactions with Lahabrea have been very antagonistic. I sent a request for permission before setting forth to Elpis. With luck, we shall not be waiting long. Ooh, you look stern. What a fascinating etheric signature. Ahem. In accordance with the Convocation's request, the two of you have been granted leave to observe Pandæmonium. I shall register your ether for the records. From this point on, you may freely come and go from Pandæmonium as you please. Nod. Now, that was a painless process. I take this as a sign that we were meant to conduct our investigations together. Of course, while you have been permitted entry into the facility, the specimens housed inside must be handled with the utmost care. You are to heed the warder's instructions at all times. Ha! Those who conduct their work within Pandæmonium are called warders for their role with respect to the creatures within. Generally, creations that pose a threat to the safety of the star must be undone. However, the words of Lahabrea has deemed certain such creations as worthy of further study, interring them within the facility. Those who spend their days in Pandæmonium are not merely researchers. They must work tirelessly to ensure that none of their subjects slip their shackles. For all intents and purposes, the place is a dungeon. Perhaps such a comparison arouses frightful imagery, but Pandæmonium is a frightful place. I know not the purpose of your investigation, but if you discover aught that merits a report, pray do so with utmost haste. Master Lahabrea shall guide us upon the proper course of action from there. Lahabrea, what have you done? No. Then I take it means you have detected nothing amiss as of late. The warders have reported nothing that would cause alarm. Minor fluctuations in ether have been observed, but surely Master Lahabrea would have acted if they were anything worth worrying about. Slight zoom in. I see. It appears Lahabrea is kept well abreast of the goings-on here, then. I hope I am not overstepping my boundaries by asking, but you seem to be quite familiar with Master Lahabrea. Do you know him? Oh, the stories I could tell you. You are no mere familiar, are you? Master Lahabrea is not known for being generous with his time. That one would have stories of his company almost beggars belief. Regardless, while I doubt I need to tell you this, he is of the Convocation. Take care that your actions do not hinder his work. One of the... I don't want to say complaints, I want to say niggles. One of the niggles that I've always had with the story of FF14 as it has evolved over the expansions is the fact that Lahabrea was one of the Unsundered. We know this. It was confirmed in Shadowbringers. There was Elidibus, there was Emmet Selk, and there was Lahabrea. And I know that we got the thing that Lahabrea was known for swapping bodies and that had weakened him. But compared to what the Ascians became as villains, I feel like Lahabrea was not very Ascian, if you know what I mean. Very much of a and I'm not just talking level here, I'm talking power level in terms of inferiority. And I kind of feel like Lahabrea was sold short, I think, in comparison. He was he wasn't a moustache-twirling villain, and he wasn't a bad villain, but he was very much a Realm Reborn villain, and I don't think he had as much given to him. And I'm wondering whether this is going to redress the balance a bit more on Lahabrea. And with that, we are free to make our way to Pandæmonium. The naos that will take us there is on the eastern bank of Lethe. Is it Lethe? I feel like it's Lethe. Let us delay no further. I'm actually going to quickly look that up, because it's possible that I've always been pronouncing it wrong. I've always called it the River Lethe on those rare occasions that I actually say it out loud. How do you actually pronounce it? Lethe. Sorry, Lethe. Lethe? That just sounds wrong, frankly. There we go. Lethe, the River Lethe. Sounds like Leafy. There's a snake in my water supply. That is a problem. Should do something about that. I'm really nervous, you know, about doing this as DPS. DPS have to deal with mechanics. Tanks don't. And I'm crap. Yeah, I'm here for the story. Hi, Themis. I had to contain my surprise for the sake of appearances, but is it true that you two have met Lahabrea in the flesh? I find it more fascinating by the moment. Still, I shall refrain from asking too many questions. Secrets will make our journey all the more intriguing. We shall come to know each other in time, I wager, or else why would fate have orchestrated our meeting? In any case, let us be off. Truth be told, this will be my first time beholding the fabled Pandæmonium with my own eyes. It's a new adventure, eh? What's it going to be like? Ooh, screenshot button, screenshot button. Woohoo! Oh, yes. It is much as I feared. The speaker seemed in such high spirits that for a moment I thought the ethereal irregularity not nearly so grave a portent as I'd imagined. Alas, 'twas a fleeing and vain hope. Should that be fleeting? Just want to hear the music. Like the bats added to that. Yeah. There's always something. We've got so many elements going on here. We've got this very kind of mournful and melancholy voice. Over that, under that rather, we've got the obvious kind of church organ. Church organ, of course, always gives things gravitas. You know, just ask the people that composed the Bloodborne soundtrack. Organs all the way. I love church organ. I've been to a couple of concerts which are, you know, church organs. They're very, very technical to play. So it seems. And we also had that kind of almost synthy beat underneath everything. And that's an even more synthy thing. We've got almost four kind of, I don't want to say clashing ideals here. Because clearly they're not clashing. Clearly they're working together quite nicely. But of course, when people think of the word Pandæmonium, we often think of the more modern version of Pandæmonium, which is chaos. You know, Pandæmonium is the chaotic clashing of things happening. So we've got this clashing of musical styles. I've spent like 3 minutes or something talking about music. Let's carry on with the quest, shall we? To gaze upon this complex network of chains and wards, the untrained eye might not sense anything awry. No effort has been spared in making this place impenetrable. There's nothing in the cages. Something big chained down there. Even the finest of masterworks is not without its flaws, however. I find it very, very interesting that this has been made by the ancient Ethereans. Not in terms of that they would make something like this in terms of purpose, but that they would make something like this in terms of aesthetic. Compared to Elpis above and Amarot, this looks incredibly out of place. Except for the Ascians. You know, if we look at this from an Ascian, a post-Zodiac expression of aesthetic, this makes sense. And it's also, it makes me think of the Voidark raid series that I can never remember the other two raids on. It's just got that kind of vibe to it. Someone or something is tampering with the protections. It is working from within, eroding them from the inside out. Fear not, there's no immediate danger. I reinforced what protections I could the moment we arrived. This will not put an end to whatever is occurring, but it shall at least serve to slow its progress. One small victory, though the road ahead of us is yet long. Yes, powerful forces are at work here. The silence in the air speaks volumes. While I did not expect a bustling facility, I see not a single warder. Our first course of action should be to seek one out, wherever they may be. However, there is something you must know. That's so Castlevania. The magic I wove when entering requires my constant awareness. That is to say, if we are forced to fight, I cannot risk joining you in battle. Should I lose focus, Pandæmonium's protections will rapidly crumble before the force assailing them. More powerful than he looks, is Themis. Were there any other way, I would gladly choose it, but let us at least be grateful that neither of us is here alone, trapped in hopeless circumstances. If we should fail to find a peaceable solution, then I hope that I can rely on your strength to see us through. We've been doing that a lot more. This expansion, just the kind of hand-on-hip thing. You know, it used to be a nod, or a fist punch, or a leave it to me. No, we've got kind of sassy hand-on-hip now. This request doesn't come as a surprise now. Of course, you have my promise. Thank you for offering your help so willingly. If weapons are drawn, I hope to be able to lend at least a touch of magical support. I.e. healing us if need be. Creation magics do have their uses in that regard. I had it in mind to use your ether as a basis for illusory allies that will fight at your side. Perhaps 7 shall do? Not exactly an army, but by the looks of you, a formidable band nonetheless. So is this the in-universe explanation for us having an 8-man party here? That's quite cool. Then so shall it be. Now, what, I wonder, awaits us in Pandæmonium's pitiless halls? Nice little bit of alliteration there. The constant bats. Asphodelos, the first circle. Now accessible. Cannot say for sure what awaits us. Let us make ready for the worst, and we shall not be taken by surprise. Next time then, folks, we shall enter Asphodelos. Let's take a look at what the queue time is going to be like. Less than 5 minutes. I shall join you back here for that. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Hope you have enjoyed. There's been an awful lot of commentary in this episode. Next one is going to be me being shit at DPSing. Until then, hope you'll join me. Toodle pip. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.